Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm David from Cheddar, and today we have the pleasure of speaking with Karim from Satellite My Love. In this interview, we'll be diving into his experience in the film and media production industry and his insights on how Cheddar has transformed his workflows. Without further ado, let's jump in. Hi, Karim. Thanks for being here. How are you doing today?
Hi, David. Glad to be here. I'm doing very well, thank you.
Awesome. For our listeners, could you please introduce yourself, including your position within Satellite My Love, and how long you've been working in the film and media production industry?
Of course. So I'm Karim Biktash. I work at Satellite My Love as head of production. I've been working in the film business for the past 12 years now.
Oh, very cool. And can you provide some background on your company and its role within the film and media production industry?
Absolutely. So our company is Satellite My Love is a production house that's been around for 20 years. We're celebrating our 20 years this year, and we focus on advertising content and different types of content, of course, for TV, digital, mainly video. We do photo as well, but our main business revolves around advertising campaigns.
Wow, 20 years, that's a long time to be around. Can you describe a project that kind of showcases what Satellite My Love excels at?
Sure. I mean, our projects are very diverse in the sense that we're not really specified in a specific sector, specialized. Sorry, I don't think we're not specialized in a specific sector. We do everything from, cars, sports, fashion, luxury, pharmaceutical, banking, insurance, everything you can, every industry you can think about. Actually, we've worked with brands that everyone knows: L'Oreal, Adidas, Nivea. More recently, we've worked with global partners of the Paris Olympics. That's been keeping us busy since the Paris Olympics are right around the corner. So a lot of brands and sponsors have been shooting a lot of content for that event.
Okay. And how did you first hear about Cheddar and what made you give it a try?
Well, it's a bit of word of mouth. I work with a lot of UPMs, and word started, circulating about this new software, and it got me interested because I always felt that the software that we were using in the past could, be better, and I had a lot of ideas. And then, someone started talking to me about this new thing called Chedar. I dived into it. I looked into it, and on paper, it seemed like it was everything I was looking for. And diving deeper into it, I saw that it was, and I'm very happy about that switch that we've done almost 5 years ago now. I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so you're a very early adopter to Cheddar for sure. And let's dive into that. What problems were you facing in your production workflows prior to Cheddar?
Um, so I'm as head of production. I oversee all of the productions, and it has always been difficult to have one. I've always wanted one place where I can oversee everything in terms of quotes, budgets, what's going on a day-to-day basis. And of course, in order to do that, if you don't have everything centralized in one place, you have to go to each UPM, speak to them, schedule meetings, and you can't sometimes do everything you want to do in a day or in 2 days or in 3 days. So basically, made it communication was made easier just because I had all of the information right there in one software. I was also facing challenges regarding the template itself that we were using. It wasn't really a software; it was kind of like an Excel sheet with uh,
Yeah.
that's just a bit old-fashioned and hard to work with. It wasn't user-friendly at all. I wanted something online, something easy, something where I can do changes and the UPM sees the changes and vice versa. That's mainly the thing that I needed the most, and Cheddar offered that. Another thing that I suffered from with our old software slash template was it was, I don't know how to explain it, but it was heavy. It was heavy to use. It wasn't user friendly. It had a lot of like tricks that you needed to know in order for the thing to work, properly, and it wasn't smooth. I lacked smoothness, I guess.
Okay, gotcha. So that kind of goes into my next question here is what specific features of Cheddar have had the biggest impact on your day-to-day operation? It sounds like you're very in tuned with the collaboration features, but is there anything else that you would like to highlight?
Absolutely, collaboration features were, the what sold Cheddar to me, if you want. And I discovered later that it went beyond that, collaborating within the office with the accounting department specifically is another thing that was very helpful and kind of life changing in terms of work changing, let's say, in terms of day to day. It facilitated the communication between myself and the accounting department. I don't have to, again, schedule different meetings to explain which project goes to which client, which purchase order is linked to what quote. Everything was in there. We just had to share, the name of the project, the number, the reference number that we set, and then the accounting department had access to everything. And if there was any question, of course, they'd come to me. But and it's not because I don't like communicating with people. Busy days, sometimes you can't, you don't have time. It's just cut the need to meet and to have meetings and meetings and meetings for little simple things by more than half, I would say. It just made everything more efficient and more smooth.
That's awesome. And how frequently are you logging in and using Cheddar, you or your team?
All day. I mean, I use Cheddar all day long.
I like hearing that.
It's always in the background, the different tabs, the different projects, the what do you call them? Not the motherboard, anyway, I use it all day. I check on the UPM's work. Sometimes I start a quote as well before I deliver it to a UPM so that they can take over. Yeah, I would say it's 50%, 60% of what I do all day.
Yeah, for sure. So something that we've noticed is, and this is not just for Cheddar, but for all softwares, is it's very hard to get businesses, especially ones that have been around for 20 years, to kind of change the way they're doing things. They're kind of stuck in their own ways. So would you be able to mention any measurable differences in productivity or cost savings since implementing Cheddar?
Absolutely. I mean, since everything is easier and smoother to do on Cheddar, that saves you time. And when you save time, you save money, and you save unnecessary meetings, unnecessary calls. It just makes everything go faster, smoother. It helps me focus on other things that are more important than figuring out how to make a software work or explaining to a UPM what we need to. Everything's there, everything's easy. The accounting department has access to it. I can focus on the productions. I can focus on how to produce the commercials or the content that we're doing. It just saved me a lot of time that I was spending on software that wasn't efficient. And allowed me to work and to produce and do things that I enjoy doing more than just fighting with the software to punch a number in.
Yeah, my next question here is how would you describe the overall impact Cheddar has had on your company? But I can tell from your answers already that you would say there's improving communication and efficiencies. Do you want to like maybe give an example of a real life situation where that happened?
Um, I mean, I guess I would probably go back to, well, it's again, it's the same thing. It's collaborating with UPMs is much easier. I can take on more projects than usual. So, I could oversee 2, 3, 4, let's say 5 projects at a time. With Cheddar, I can double that. I can oversee 10 productions because it's just easier, smoother. Everything is accessible. Everything is there. Communicating with the UPMs and with the collaborators is simpler. Specifically on since it's online, I don't have to look at a specific quote at the same time as the UPM is looking at it. So if I want to check something, I ask him or her to do something. They're like, okay, it's done. Check it out whenever you want. I just go to the software and see it instead of sending an email and getting an Excel sheet or a PDF, then putting it in the right folder, then looking at everything's there. Everything. I have the history of all of the quotes, and I can see what has changed, how it evolved very quickly, seamlessly, and very easily. As for internally, the accounting department, I love them, but I see them much less now, and it's just because I don't need to anymore.
Yeah.
When we sign off on a budget, when we get a budget sign off, I just send that number to the accounting department. This is done. You do you, and then they start working on getting the purchase order from the client, sending the invoice, the first one, the second one, following up. Everything is there, and I'm not involved in that process anymore, which is great. They're independent, I'm independent, but at the same time, we're working together. So it's perfect.
That's awesome. So something that we pride ourselves on is that we're an all-in-one software. Would you agree with that claim to be true?
Absolutely, it is an all-in-one software because it changed the way we worked in a better way, and everything from when you start pitching a project, when we're doing an estimate quote until we actually sell the quote, up until the purchase order, the invoicing, and closing the project. Everything happens in Chedar. And what's also been helpful is that you have an overview on all of the productions that were done in terms of accounting, of course, and the company itself. You can see everything that has been done on this year. You can compare years very easy. Like, oh, this year we did this year we did this. Everything's there, very organized, very easy to see, and it allows you to improve and see what you did the year before, how to do it better the next year. And again, since we're saving so much time using Cheddar, we have time to reflect on things like that that are important and that improve efficiency, of course.
That's great. Do you have any feedback for improvements for us?
I mean, what's really good about Cheddar is that every time because I'm in touch with the customer service at Cheddar, and every time we pinpoint an issue, it's resolved quite quickly. I mean, even if it requires development, things happen, and when they tell us that things are going to happen, they actually do happen, which is great. And it has been like that. No software is perfect, and Cheddar is close to it, but not quite. But I can see that there is improvement, and there is a consistent development team that's always working on new features, new changes. The most recent one was it's funny you asked, because it was something that I had discussed with Cheddar a few months ago, I think, or a few weeks ago, regarding seeing the quote totals before actually clicking on the quotes. When you have a list of quotes, now we can see, and this was just pushed, I think, a week ago, which also helps a lot in how you look at quotes. How can we improve Cheddar more? There are several options, and I understand each company is different, and sometimes we have requirements that others don't. So the wrap page on the quote currently works really well. Sometimes I have trouble remembering what was in the quote, because on the wrap page you only have the totals. So that's something that I had discussed actually, and I think it's been being worked on. But it's just to be able to have clarity, because I have so many projects in mind. I'm overseeing a lot of production. When it's one person, when the UPM, I don't think they have that problem. But for me, as head of production, overseeing several productions at the same time, sometimes it's difficult for me to remember what we quoted. And on the wrap page, you see the total of what we quoted, and not the details, the number of days, the number of hours.
I see.
So maybe that, in a way, just make it more visible or easier or clearer to see. That would be great. That's at the top of my head. That's what I think about.
Working on the software is something we do daily. Our developers are always hard at work, fielding feature requests and improving the system. I was going to say, my last question for you, Karim, is for anyone listening thinking about implementing Cheddar, would you recommend Cheddar to any film and media production companies?
I mean, I would, of course, hope that my competitors don't have the same tools that I do, so I can always be one step ahead. But if I want to be objective and helpful to the film community, I definitely recommend Cheddar. It honestly did change the way I work, the way we work here, and made everything more efficient and just better.
Karim, I do want to thank you so much for taking the time to participate in this interview today. Your feedback and your answers are incredibly valuable to us. For anyone who is listening and wants to learn more about Cheddar, you can visit us online or feel free to get in touch. Karim, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, David. You too. Bye
Bye
bye.
now.